All right, welcome to March meeting of TriEmbed.
How many new members are on tonight?
One.
Got this gentleman here.
How many new members?
How many times have you been here before?
Lots.
Lots?
Yeah,
I mean, you solved the big technical problem a few meetings ago.
yeah.
It was miraculous.
We just
Okay.
don't see him that often in person.
But we got one new one.
I missed January and February because of the weather.
I
Ed,
think Ed is new.
Yeah, we got one new
I
one.
think Ed's been here at least once before. Is that right, Ed?
Not to my knowledge. If I have been, it would have been a decade ago. So
All
probably not.
Well, we were
Introduce
here.
yourself, please.
We weren't here, but we existed.
All right. Well, I existed. So my name is Ed, and I've spent I don't know, I guess the last 50 years or so doing embedded system stuff. Recently retired, and I thought, you know what these people need is another old white guy. So here I am.
Well, how did you find out about us?
I booked a ticket for the Rars Hamfest, and I saw that you were one of the clubs that were listed. Clicked on a little link, and the website was down. I see it's back up today, but I'm persistent, so I found your mailing list and started looking through there and seeing if this was what I thought it was, and yes, so here I am.
Well,
Yeah.
very good.
Was that a TriEmbed website?
Yeah, that's right.
So you can actually go in there and look at all the old videos of these meetings also if you want.
Yeah, I did actually take a look at a couple of the most recent ones.
There are actually also materials from other specific presentations that go way back to 2013.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff on there.
We'll have to talk to Jonathan about his web server thing. TriEmbed's no longer on my server. It's on Jonathan's.
Michigan or something? Oh, our Jonathan?
Our Jonathan. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we moved the
I remember they did that a couple of years ago. didn't you?
the web.
Last month, and I would love to see us cross post on each other's websites, links to, discussions and things like that are apropos to both groups.
Does he have an email list?
He does. In fact, sometimes he joins us here. I don't.
Right. No, you mentioned that he had. I remember joining. Maybe we could publish the details of his email list and
So do you still manage it or?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it's a good new mailman.
I mean, I was just in there like a couple of weeks ago when I put the last video up.
That's the website.
That's
Well, the website.
that'd be YouTube. Right? Oh, right.
No, but I
Yeah,
posted the links.
So that's on Jonathan's server.
Yeah.
it's-
Oh, so he's
It's
managing that.
confusing. Yeah, it was on my server for the first.
Well, we've distributed responsibilities.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, I'm happy to report it's probably maximally only been maybe a week, and it's up now, so life is good.
Okay, but I am been paying Jonathan just so he knows. I appreciate the feedback.
All right, announcements. Rars Fest is in a couple of weeks. I'm not really feeling the love on the Maker Island this year. I haven't heard anybody else that's gonna be there.
North Wake won't be able to be there this year.
So
I haven't heard about any of the other clubs.
the
We hadn't said whether Alamance would be there.
So
our early table pricing ends March 28th, so I will make a decision by then. There's a Maker Fair in Asheville in April as well, later in the month. And I may do one or the other. Definitely won't do both. haven't decided. You know, I've been there in the last 5 years or so, and have made a small number of seemingly great contacts, and then nobody shows up at the next meeting. So
Which one, Asheville or Rose?
the Rars Fest.
Yeah, it's a ways away. It's the thing. Although,
What's a ways away? Rars Fest?
no, well, my experience, although I guess this isn't Durham, but I used to help staff the spot space table there, and all kinds of good contacts, but just, you know, after you get off work on some evening and then you have to drive all the way over to, so nobody ever showed up from that. But
We have got a few.
you're further, or you're closer to Raleigh, so that might,
Oh, yeah.
this is closer to Raleigh. So anyway, my comment actually might not be applicable in this situation, because I forgot about that.
It would be a great opportunity for North Wake, but right now North Wake has got some logistics issues and we just don't have a space. We're running out of a trailer and back of my pickup, so.
So
Not
I mean,
to
if
mention, I'm busy with so many other obligations.
anybody here is, you know, gung ho about sitting at the table for an hour or two,
Happily sit at the table. Be crotchety.
I mean, that's normal.
Yes, I know. That's, you know, that if you know,
let me know
With
how,
attitude.
yeah,
how
if, you
put
know,
it into the formula.
You're crotchety, like I have to tell bad jokes.
yeah, well, no, I'm happy to, you know, sit there and be difficult to people.
So Shane Trent has just entered.
I am going to send out to the email list a link. A week before the Hamfest happens to be the Durham chapter's crop walk. That's the hunger 5K run walk, and the link would be accepting the donations. I happen to be participating with the community band, the Durham community band that's playing ahead of it, and if we can get enough people to click on, oh, I'm doing this on behalf of the Durham Community Concert Band, then we can beat Meals on Wheels this year. But anyhow, if you guys ever want to participate, you'd have to Google. I'll send the link up, but it's the Durham Crop Walk, CROP, and I believe it's also known as the Durham Crop Hunger Walk. It's just one chapter of a whole national organization of crop walks that happen all over. Raleigh does theirs about the third week of September. Durham always does theirs on Palm Sunday. So if you want to participate, they're taking applications. They've been taking applications for about a month, and $5 for a T-shirt to participate and pledge and get money, raise money for the hungry. It's not only help feed, but also help clothe disadvantaged families and folks. So it's a good cause.
Send up the link.
I didn't do it coming over here because I had a deliverable I had to get done.
Other announcements? Okay. Problem of the month. So I have my home automation. I have a setup running at my house, setup running at the horse farm where my wife has her horses, and a setup running at my second home in the mountains next to my grandkids. And each one of them has a Raspberry Pi running an MQTT broker and some number of nodes that publish their data to the broker. There's a Python script running on the Pi that subscribes to all the topics and monitors them and sends information up to Adafruit. So there's a lot of moving parts, and they don't always work.
Now you're actually in my close field, because that's what my little weekend business is.
Are you gonna share your screen?
Yeah, once I get
Oh, okay.
something working.
Get something to share.
What kinds of problems are you starting to experience? Because I purposely avoided MQTT in my setup.
Okay. I love MQTT,
I know.
but
And it works a lot of good situations. The central server of what I usually set up is what I call a consolidator. It consolidates the various different readings from various different kinds of
Give me a second.
sectors. And I've got mine connecting to all kinds of different other third-party units, for instance, Ring doorbells, cameras, Honeywell smart thermostats, all sorts of fun stuff.
Those are words to live by there, huh? Anything not saved will be lost.
yeah, if you're not familiar with io.adafruit.com, so normally MQTT brokers receive a message published to a topic, look for anyone that's subscribed to that topic, and send the message on. And that's it. That's the end of that message. Adafruit will keep the message around for 15 days if you're on their free plan and 30 days if you're on their paid plan. And so you can graph the last 15 days worth of, this is temperature at 3 different places at the barn.
They're pretty much,
They
in line.
keep pretty well.
Do you have any like air handling stuff like fans in the ceiling or helping flow to mitigate any kind of temperature changes at the barn?
So yes, there's like a hayloft in the middle of the barn. It's a metal barn, metal roof. And so this light yellow one is the loft temperature. There is an exhaust fan that they can go turn on, and it sucks hot air out of the top. The green and the orange are IT is inside temperature, OT is outside temperature. Although I think those might actually be swapped at the moment. That's inside and outside the pump house. And in the winter, I don't want the pump to freeze. So I keep track of that, and I have notifications if it gets too cold in there.
Do you have anything for the barn itself to keep temperatures from rising enough to cause combustibles to have a problem?
So they correlate the temperatures and the data just correlates the outside temperatures, the inside temperatures, stuff like that.
Yep. So the pump house is a black polypropylene tub turned upside down over the pump. And when the sun shines on it, you get a lot of heat trapped in there. When the pump runs, it generates heat inside that relatively small 100-gallon volume.
Good in the winter, but not in the summer.
So it can get warm. In the summer, we prop it up on some blocks to get airflow through. Unfortunately, it's been warm for the last week or two. If we had the screen off to the left here, you'd be able to see where the heater comes on to keep the pump from freezing, and you can count how many times it turned on during the night. So the barn does not have internet. So I have a cell phone modem hat
Oh, okay.
for a Raspberry Pi. And I bought a data plan for that cell phone modem that is $24 a year.
Well, it depends on the amount of data.
Yeah.
He's
And I
only
get-
a very small package.
I get 50 megabytes a month. Is that right?
That's quite big.
Which is probably 10 times more
Now,
than I
can you
need.
spread that plan over a multitude of modems? Or?
Modems? No, it's one SIM card.
Okay.
My Python script, the Python script at the barn crashes every week and a half. It's being killed by the operating system because of how much memory. So I've got a memory leak somewhere in one of my
I was
dictionaries.
going to suggest that, yeah.
The same script, which doesn't talk to the cell phone modem, runs at the house, runs at the cabin, and will run for months to years without crashing. So
So it's
most likely
the
something
module
inside of my phone that does the cell phone modem. So the barn one crashes routinely. I have something somewhere running that monitors. So if you subscribe to your local MQTT topics, all the topics, you see everything that's on. If you're at the house, you see everything that's happening on the house. If you also subscribe to Arduino, to Adafruit, you get things that get posted from the cabin or from the barn to Adafruit. Adafruit will pass them on to you.
So it's kind of acting like your little cloud relay.
Yep. And so if I don't get stuff from the barn for a certain amount of time, I know that it's.
You can file a missing persons report.
Yeah. So I get a notification on my phone that says barn failure.
There's a industry standard way for addressing that problem for anybody who's built long-term Windows-based test systems. Set up the timer to reboot it every night at 3:38.
3:30. That's
3:30.
okay.
That is
That's
the
the
wall
official time, yeah.
in human
Yeah.
activity. That's also why surprise attacks start somewhere.
I was going to recommend moving the process to its own process that then could crash and you could restart just that process without crashing the Linux. And you
Linux
can,
never crashes.
yeah, well, okay, but you can set up a named pipe to just the cell phone.
I am running
process.
under something that Carl developed to make sure that it keeps running. But when the operating system kills it because of memory,
It has nothing to do with what I wrote.
yes.
Right. Now you're going to do a
So-
and get it to restart.
So I had a barn failure on March.
You can bundle up your code and send it to me. I'll take a look.
Well, if it's in the
February
cell phone
8th.
stuff, it may not.
No, it's all Python on his Raspberry Pi.
He's saying it leaks in the binary log for the motor.
Right.
No, it's in my code.
Okay.
We believe in you, Paul.
Thank you. Yeah. So I had one on December 26th. I had one on. No, that was Phil the hummingbird feeder. Barn failure. So every couple of weeks it happens. Sometimes I notice it, and sometimes I don't notice it, or I ignore it.
You should have something in your syslog.
That's where I found the memory killer.
I think that's where I originally told you to find it. Yeah. But that will also give you a traceback if it's Python. So it'll tell you where in the code. It should give you a traceback.
Do you get the equivalent of like a cordon when it stops those processes?
I don't know if it won't really
Like the
do
Python.
Python core down.
Yeah, Python cordon wouldn't be as useful as
Yeah.
traceback.
And the
Traceback.
traceback would only tell you the point at which it
It ran out of memory.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
maybe after the
Yeah,
fact.
but at least it could tell you the variable name, so he knows what to look for.
Could be.
The OS just periodically goes through the processes and see how much memory they've got, right? And finally it says, okay, you've got too much, I'm going to kill you. So it's an asynchronous thing with the activity in the script. It just says, you're done.
Is there something for,
There he is.
And I interrupt you for a moment, and then I'm here apparently. Paul, you know how to check in and out with the app, do you?
I do.
Could you go into the app and now that, you won't be a key holder yet. I want to make you a key holder because I'm leaving and I'm the key holder. If you're the first person to check in, you're the key holder, and I'm going to leave you. Sorry to interrupt, but you probably haven't got the key holder stuff in your app yet. It'll show up tomorrow when the thing goes through. So,
And I am logged in.
right. So do you have a key holder section? No. So let me show you real quick what it looks like so you know what see how it says key holder?
Yes.
And there's this make me key holder button.
Okay.
What you would normally do is I'd say, hey, Paul, I'm going, you're key holder. And you'd say, yeah, I'm going to be here. And you would click make me key holder and it would transfer to you. We'll figure something out tonight, or you can just send me a text and I'll check out. If I check out now, you all get lost and we don't want you all to get lost. So he said, there he is. Were you talking about it?
Yes.
Oh my, you're saying about me?
That you exist.
Oh, I know. Well, I don't know you well, and I don't think I know you well. Everyone else. Well, I don't know who this guy is, but mostly I know who. I'm Rob.
hi, Rob, I'm Antonius.
Antonius, it is a fabulous thing to meet you. I'm glad you're here. No shame. And I've met you, but I don't know
Richard.
you. Perfect. If I can help in any way, I'm a member of the board. This means I'm a volunteer stuck with a lot of stuff. I'm a person who's here a lot because I coach some teams and do some other activities. I am just a volunteer, not paid or anything, but if I can help, that describes you guys if you're here too, right? I'm just like you, I've just been doing it for a very long time. So if I can help with something, let me know.
Were you at the competition this past weekend?
I was.
Can you give us a 10-second summary of
Heart attack or the competition?
both?
So the
10
competition.
seconds each.
Competition was fabulous. It was really well run. It stayed very close to schedule. They did a great job, and there were some amazing teams there. So that was really fun. And there were more rookie teams and there have been in several years.
COVID amazingly well.
Right, COVID kind of knocked out starting new teams, and there were a whole bunch of new teams. Lots of teams helped them, and a new innovation. So there's going to be 40 seconds, but a new innovation first is when they release their kit of parts now. They're released this year. They released all the things you needed if you bought simple things at Lowe's and other places to build a kit bot. A kit bot was a bot that in this first week would probably do very well against anything anybody else had built in 8 weeks because they'd had a year or two to design it, right? I suspect the kit bot, if not modified, will begin to lose next week or the week after to robots that have watched the competition and have done better, or to kit bots where the team said, let's add a climber to the kit bot, because there are things the kit bot can't do, but it can suck balls in and shoot them pretty well. Not as well as the really good robots, but pretty well. So that was really interesting. It allowed rookies to do really great because if they built the kit bot, they had a bot that's probably 80% of what the bots will be in 6 weeks, and way better than people who started from scratch and built a bot in 8 weeks, right? Add 6 more weeks and those 8-week bots will outdo a kit bot, but maybe only by 20%, right? I mean,
Well,
there was also bots.
a great engineering lesson for those fancier, higher potential bots.
Yeah.
Add more moving pieces and they work more. And they work.
The kit bot was simple. So anyway, so that's the competition, that's the sport. And it was 60 seconds, sorry. So our team, I'll try and keep it to 10 or 15. Really hard for me.
Don't do that. I think they won something.
That's a thing they learned, right? We ended up with a robot that over the last 3 days before competition, and then some stayed till midnight, and Friday of competition, they got mostly working except for the climber, so comparable to a kit bot, but our own design. And it was very similar. You saw a robot, very similar to a kit bot in function, but whereas the kit bot had belts, we had a spin thing to get the balls through the robot. We ended up getting 3 matches through or 4 matches through. I can't remember, either 3 or 4 matches, 4 matches into the finals, like in the semifinals and finals, playoffs where the eliminations happen. So we got picked by a seed team and then we got our alliance, which was 2 beginner teams and us, managed to hold on. We lost in 2 matches. We were in the or in 1 match we were in the losers bracket, but then we held on in the losers bracket. And we made 1 more in the loser bracket. I think we would have, or yeah, I think 1 more in the losers bracket. We'd have moved back up, and we'd have gotten beat out real fast then because we got beat out in the losers bracket. But that was really good for a team that was afraid they wouldn't even have a robot to put on the field. So our team felt really good. We got an award recognized for the team's efforts at sustainability, which is how does the team make sure it has students for next year? How does it make sure it has mentors for next year? How does it make sure it has a space to meet in? How does it make sure that the community supports the team? And what does the team do to make sure the community has STEM and STEAM going on beyond the team? All of that, they wrote that up and won an award. Of all the teams at this competition, our team was recognized for our efforts in sort of the business side of being a team, which is kind of neat because they all got attracted because they got to build robots, right? The fact that in order to keep building robots, that's a big award in first, because it's what are you doing to make sure you will remain to be an asset for the community? Right. So it's really cool. And you got to think in real life, if you want entrepreneurs, it's not good enough just to have the best patent, right? How many patent stories have you heard? My great grandfather actually invented the first step. You know how train cars couple? He actually invented that. He sold it to the railroad for $100 and the right for his family to travel on, as long as he was alive, his family could travel on the railroad for free in Ohio. But that's what he got out of it, right? But he didn't build a business on it, yet this saved so many lives because you didn't have to go in between 2 moving cars and couple them, right? There's a guy in Georgia who finished it and made it so that nobody had to do anything. But he's the one the guy in Georgia worked off of. But let me just say that family did not retire in Bill Gates level wealth for that invention. So you want to know how to
invented the pull bar that will allow you to disconnect cars?
Yeah, because
there's the E coupler, the F coupler.
Yeah, and I don't have the exact, but it was the first one that did this, where you drove them together and they coupled, but then you had to go in and do something to latch them. Once they were coupled, you had to go in and do a thing. They weren't moving when you did it, but if you didn't do the thing, they just pulled apart. So his was the first to do that part. But then the guy in Georgia, which was whatever this most sort of modern thing is the one where it goes together, it latches, and to get undone, you do something else which does not require a human being in the mix, right? Human being at a distance, but not in the mix. The point is, if they learn how to do the business side of entrepreneurial too, that's our economy, right? That's how we end up with the next whoever it is who makes things that matter, whether it's robots or software or whatever. You all know that. You've all been through it. You either work for the man or you learn how to run a business.
That's what all these incubators are all about.
Yeah, what I didn't hear.
Oh, the next AI.
Yeah, the next AI, the next whatever it is. But incubator's right. It's about, and so if you can learn that when you're 15, then you're developing it all the way through college. Yeah, you're learning engineer, but you're taking the classes no other engineer is taking them and working in the company. Anyway, so I'll leave you. That was, I'm sorry, now it's 5 minutes, Paul. I'm going away.
Keep up.
I know figure out how to make you older, or I'll just watch.
You'll be on the video.
Do I have to lock anything when I leave?
Yeah, so that is, I'll make sure the other side is locked up. We'll make sure the back is taken care of. Are you parked in back or front?
Front.
So your job is to make sure all the lights are off in this side and to lock that door as you go out it. Normally it's your job to police everything and make sure that anything that we own is closed, but I will police everything but the front door for you this time, just because it's easy, right?
Oh, and we need the lights.
Yeah, you do the lights.
Thank you.
Yeah, right. I could turn the lights off. All right, guys. You just keep meeting. I'm gonna kill all the lights.
One of the things when I was a kid, they used to have
I'm
something
going to
called the
interject.
Explorer
You do have
Scouts.
some comments in the chat from Ed during this.
Okay, well, what were you saying? And then I'm gonna listen to what Ed said.
They used to have a program called the Explorer Scouts to do
Yeah.
some of that when I was
Absolutely.
in the 70s and 80s.
What? Any of it addressed to me or
No.
I'm going away then. You've got a meeting to have. Thank you for so much of your time.
Actually, that's apropos to our meeting.
Congrats for a great weekend.
Okay,
You told them about your, yeah, no.
Not yet.
so my question was, is there a memory leak tool like Valgrind for Python?
A memory what?
Talking about like a static analysis tool or something like that. And there are a couple of static
There's
analysis.
profilers.
Well,
You can
there is,
set up a
that's for
profiler.
runtime, but that's for runtime, but there actually is
I
a,
did already.
and it's written in Python, but there is a Python script that will analyze your Python scripts. and tell-
tracemalloc,
Well, yeah, it'll look for
memory
whether
profiler in Python.
it is, shucks. I'm trying to remember what I picked. Pull it in. Gosh darn it. Can't remember right now, and I don't have my laptop with me.
Yeah, I just used Profiler recently in my, so it's something you put in, run it, and then take out, because otherwise it keeps
Yeah,
doing it all the time.
it's a runtime. It's a runtime switch.
Well,
It
yeah,
says
that's your
run the-
runtime analysis. There's a static analysis ahead of that, that before you run your Python script, it'll actually scan through your Python script. I'll tell you what, I'll try to follow up.
But I'm like so used to looking for these types of things that if he gave me his code, I could probably spot it just by looking at global variables and that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
And I'm no Python guru of any sort.
No,
You're
you're not bad, Paul.
When I have
You've done a lot of
questions,
stuff.
I ask Carl. Yeah, so I have lots of things going on. Sometimes I get a message on my phone. Sometimes, a sensor that's monitoring the loft temperature crashes or the power goes out or who knows what. And it takes me a week to recognize that hasn't been running. One of the things that I publish.
Pylint, that's what we use.
Island.
Pylint.
Pylint.
Oh, Pylint. That's just a linter though.
It's a static
Static
analysis, so
analysis
it'll
of
actually,
code, it'll
try to
find
check to
things.
make sure that you are.
Really? It does more than just linting? Because I use a different linter than that, but I've never used that one.
And you can set it to different types of analyses.
So, for example, here are the topics that get published to Adafruit from the cab. Okay, so this is the attic, signal quality, attic temperature things, crawl space humidity, crawl space signal quality, crawl space temperature, dehumidifier voltage and current.
That's what I use Flake for linting.
The MQTT messenger battery. But here's a good one. MPH doesn't stand for miles per hour, it stands for messages per hour. And so this is a little remote box that runs on battery. My things that run on batteries usually wake up twice a day and report their battery voltage to MQTT. The things that are plugged in,
Are you analyzing any more than just battery voltage?
no.
Okay, because I tend to analyze both battery voltage, battery current, and try to do some predictive analysis for time to charge, time to depletion.
I like to wake up, publish my thing, and go back to sleep as quick as I can.
Sure.
So
If you wanted to be tricky and monitor while you're transmitting, you can probably calculate the battery needs to see if your health is deteriorating.
That's what I'm talking about, yeah. There's actually a nice TI chip that will do it very low power and go very fast, and you just do some I2C commands at it. It spits you back a couple I2C registers, and then you can report that up.
So things that are plugged in, I have reporting every 15 seconds. So I get them 240 times an hour. And so this is kind of typical at 6 p.m. today.
Are you
So this is created from the Python script running on the Pi. It has subscribed.
Type a little bit.
And so every hour, I found that so I don't normally publish the same value to one of these feeds every 15 seconds. I publish it when it changes, okay, or once an hour. If you don't do the once an hour, like if you're monitoring the rain gauge, it won't rain for days, okay? And then it'll rain. And instead of getting a graph like this, you get a line from here to here. This line.
It's an artificial curve.
Yeah.
Fill it.
So
Extrapolation.
I clear my cache every hour, and so every hour it'll do a message whether it's changed or not. So these things at the cabin reported 240 times an hour, which is perfectly good. So all those are working. Here's one where it's 241. That's probably a 239 somewhere else because of
Time change?
it's the Nyquist frequency sampling error. Right? And I'm sure if we went through here, there's one. So this was during this hour, my little messenger box woke up and said, here's what my battery is. So I have visibility from Adafruit on the processors that are doing this monitoring, right? So the one monitoring the exhaust fan, he was running perfectly at noon today. If I don't get anything in an hour, that means that my Python script didn't publish anything Datafruit that hour, and so maybe it has crashed. So I'm working on.
Can I suggest a possibility that you might want to add to your sequencing?
Sure.
One of the things you might want to add is something called a ping and a pong. So for instance, if you don't receive anything from, a sending unit, maybe you can send a message to it to say, hey, are you really still there? Or do you really have that, process?
Periodically ping.
Yeah.
You,
So, you said you have it once an hour
So
communicating
my
back.
house could ping Adafruit.
Uh-huh.
The cabin could subscribe to that topic and see that someone has requested Pong or whatever you want to call
Or
it.
you can put when you're ping out in all your sites, subscribe to it, but yeah. Hey, are you still there and healthy? That kind of thing.
I don't recall you saying that you have the logic to detect the fact that you haven't heard in a while. That seems to be up to you to
I
notice.
have a script and I have a clock.
That's
So
what
you-
Derek's doing.
So at 6 o'clock, at just before 6 o'clock, these were published, right? And I would have received those.
So
So
what is it that goes for a week before you notice it?
it could be this one, maybe the exhaust fan, instead of reporting 240, it reports 0. And I don't notice that.
Right, so there has to be something
Something,
added to notice those sorts of things.
So what's your goal for the project?
so I want a way to preferably visually look at something and see a bunch of green lights where things are working and yellow or red lights where things aren't.
Now you start getting into some possible mathematics, doing things like smoothing, filtering, what have you, to see if you've got outliers hidden.
Yeah, maybe. I think just somebody that monitors exhaust fan 240, and if it sees exhaust fan 116, it shows a yellow blob for the exhaust fan processor. And if it sees exhaust fan 0, it shows a red blob.
So you're creating alert levels.
But it's just a true false. It's working, you get a green light, it's not working, you get a red light type of thing.
That's what the bulk of the.
But you're not gonna know if it's 0, 240, or 150, or anything else, without looking at this.
Right?
Yeah, you'd give it a range.
Right. So yellow might be. You should look into this if you care about.
Right.
Something not normal happened.
It's
Maybe
working,
there's an
but
issue.
You've got the expected count, so when you reach a count that's less than that, a certain point, that will trigger your yellow.
Yep.
And if you reach a threshold below that yet, you trigger red. It's
Nominal, non-nominal effect.
have windows.
So I'm not too worried about that coding because that seems relatively straightforward. I'm worried more about the display. I currently have a
What kind of thing?
web. I currently have. Where is my cursor?
In other words, do you want to display a trend, or do you want to display a
Trends are very difficult in MQTT because nobody keeps the data.
you would have to keep it locally on you.
So you'd have to keep it locally.
You gotta aggregate.
I do have.
That's why I'm coming up with the filter and stuff.
So I do have an influx database that collects something. I don't remember exactly which sensors I'm doing. So I've got a couple of years worth of temperature at the barn, or
I did something that sounds a little similar recently,
okay.
which was tree water monitoring. So over Christmas, got a Christmas tree and wanted to know when the water level was too low, when I should add, and I'm too lazy to bend down and go check it. So I built a little thing on a Raspberry Pi Pico-W that uses an ultrasonic module to be able to measure the distance between it and the tree water. And the way I did it is all self-hosted. So I have my main Linux box was on, logs everything to a database, so that takes care of the data store. And then I have a separate thing, which is the web server, just a Python script to extract the data, show a pretty graph, and that was it.
And what is MQTT does is that adds a ability to send data ad hoc between two sites at a distance. So he's got the same kind of processes already going. He's just using the messaging system to help, send things in between.
Right. And so the way this thing worked was to be able to extract the data from the database directly to display for the website. I don't know if you can do that other than what we're seeing on the screen now with Adafruit. I'm very privacy conscious, so I typically don't put my data in the cloud, but
Yeah, that's
there might be an API.
So I use Adafruit.io too, and I've been thinking about trying the webhooks. Have you tried them? Is that like, you don't want to get into that? To send me a text when certain things.
I have done. Why is my screen sharing? I have done one webhook thing. And if this, then that.
Yeah. I used to have my plants tell me when they were thirsty.
Well, it's not.
Right.
She's not seeing what's on my screen.
I'm not getting it either.
Your video call was interrupted because his computer went to sleep.
You closed the lid.
Oh, I did. You're right. That's probably what did it.
Yeah.
All right. Please stand by.
Now,
Quick question while we're waiting for him to recover. Raise your hand if you've used the Raspberry Pi Pico 2.
Pico 2 is the new one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have one.
just maybe.
No, yeah, hand raised over here.
And, well, Ed was just talking about his people. Yeah, I counted him. Okay, so just. So you want to that next month, and it'll be new too.
You might take a look. There are some rule-based packages from Python that run in Python, and having done a little bit of rule-based programming, that might be. You just set up a set of rules if, you know.
All this discussion is doing great, but it's not really the problem I'm trying to.
Well, then get to it then.
So I currently have an ESP8266 hosting web pages on a tablet on a coffee table next to my recliner, right? And this is what it looks like. And these little things are actually infrared remote commands to my entertainment systems, so I can go to channels and turn things on and off. Along the top are some little red and green circles. You know, it says whether the garage door is open, something about a pump, some weird things with 240s in the loft. That's probably from the barn. So I could do something like this, but it's not very elegant. The tablet died, so I want some kind of a screen. HTML is a crappy language for doing nice graphics and graphs and whatnot.
How much programming do you want to do on the?
Somewhere between none and
Yeah, well,
quite a bit.
you need.
So I'm looking for a solution. It can run on a Pi with my phone or a new tablet that is working.
The reason why I was asking is, do you want to dig into some true programming with graphics libraries, or do you want to cough up through a standardized toolkit that you don't have to think about?
Yeah, you can use Google if you want a standardized kit. If you don't, if you want to do it in Python, there are specific tools that you can use. That'll do all sorts of really good fancy graphics. I've done
Running on an 8266 with no display screen? No. So running on what processor and what
You
screen?
could probably do it on the Raspberry Pi.
Okay. And
I'm
on
pretty sure
its
you
monitor?
Well, you would use it on a web page, and you would display it on a web page.
Well,
But you'd have to write the
Python
software
web
to
page.
generate all of it.
Yeah.
Now I've got stuff that I run on it. There's a STEM32 ARM base that I can run the web server and the graphics output on, and I too run Python to drive it. But the Python is just coughing up HTML5.
Like Jupyter?
Yeah, well, the precursor to it. Yeah.
And you have something for your little round display,
Yeah,
and that runs on multiple languages?
that it uses little GL, which is, I find,
OpenGL.
not really. It's little. They're not. The graphics is superb. They are somewhat I/O bound, but they're ESP32 based, and they work nicely.
I was exploring learning LVGL to drive that, but I
That's
haven't
plot
gotten there yet.
lib. That guy.
Matt. Yeah, but you need data, right? I mean, if what I'm trying to do is a rendition of a battery, you know, with some number of segments filled, or
What you want is like on a standard
green
device,
arrow,
it tells you
red arrow.
a quick battery health, like
No, I don't
my
want
charge level, like 4 bars kind of a thing. So in my full charge,
the bar
partial
chart.
charge, you know, I need to charge.
$21 touchscreen.
What are you showing?
A little 2-inch display that's 50, $60.
These are 20.
He pointed it to us at a previous month meeting.
Yeah.
And I ordered one.
They're $20.
That's the 1.4 inch, the small, the
Yeah.
2 point whatever is.
It's, yeah, but if you just want to, if you just want something that,
Well, I've got, say 30 devices that I want a red, I want a circle that's either red, green, or,
and
and I don't want to have to get out my
you don't got your chair.
reading glasses.
Yeah.
How much? Here.
Sit back and have the display come up like Star Trek
So
style.
I no longer use the infrared remote thing. So I can do HTML, but it's got to be concise. If I'm doing it on 8266.
I will say one of the things you would like to avoid is animated GIFs. They're quick for getting a quick prototype going, but they're going to be they just take way too many resources.
What I really want is like I want to be able to set 23 variables and have a pound include of the HTML5 plus JavaScript that draws the picture and uses those variables,
Standard widget output.
I guess,
Yeah.
to create the
There's-
widgets I want, right?
Yeah.
And all that boilerplate and whatnot can be stored on a Pi on the network
Yeah.
and pulled in the cache. And so the 8266 just has to fill in this data table of 23 values, and then
It just draws up which widgets it needs at that moment in time. Yeah. Take a look at some of the stuff that's been put out there for manufacturing modules, because the people running factories, machines are kind of you have to make things very simplistic for them so that there's a standard simple graphic library for it.
So is the 8266 capable of, I presume it's capable of some communications. Is it capable of displaying HTML, simple HTML?
yeah, it serves a web server.
That's what it's designed for, to be honest with you.
But I want HTML files that are 50, 60 lines long, not thousands and thousands of lines of script this and
Sure.
blah that. And
Well,
JSON.
what I was getting at is, I wasn't really sure. So is the 8266 the web server or the web client? In other words, are you displaying
server.
HTML?
the
Okay.
server. I'll be using a web browser from an Android tablet or
Oh,
a
okay.
cell phone or something to do the.
You want something that you can be on the road and look at, not just at home.
At home, just at home
Only
is
if it
fine.
sets up a gateway to it. I mean, that's
Yeah.
a different to it. I mean, that's
Yeah.
a different kind of a path to get.
Well, I mean,
Inside in my home network. I can network in, VPN in to my home network if I wanted to do it while I was on the road, but I don't want this out on the.
I'm trying to remember the 8266, how hard it is to read a file system, a network file system.
I can read files off of an SD card.
I wasn't looking at local storage. I was looking at network storage. Because I knew I've already got a whole bunch of them. They fire off of SD cards and dealing with network storage. But the reason why I was thinking that, I was thinking your Raspberry Pi or whatever, generate things and throw it onto that network storage that's in the little.
But that's great, but I want the browser to go fetch you and not the.
So-
Not the.
I
Well,
mean,
I don't know the pound includes in HTML.
Yeah, what you do is you have an incomplete web page and you throw JSON.
Yeah.
It's
it's called Ajax.
So,
Yeah.
yes.
Ajax.
What it's called, Ajax.
Yeah.
So what it
Basically,
is
it's
that
JavaScript.
you have JavaScript that's constantly doing queries back to a server, which is pulling only data, not HTML, and then filling in the page in the background.
Right.
But none of this stuff is like super simple. I mean, this is not something you're gonna pull off in an evening.
And it's not appropriate for an 8260.
No, it's not.
No, probably not.
You don't want to use the word JSON.
Let alone the word JavaScript. You might have to go to something from the last 15 years rather than the 8266.
Like an iframe?
No, like
Like a MyPico or.
like a C, one of the 32C.
But it's the browser that would be doing the work, right? So you don't.
That's
really
my goal.
particularly care. Yeah. So you could use something like DJ what is it, D3JS. I've used that in the past to do pretty graphs. Serve up from the 8266, just a real dirt simple canned script, and then the browser does all the work. So you give it a JSON representation of the data you want to graph, for example. That's what I was using it for. Include the DJ or d3js.org boilerplate, enable cross-site scripting so that it doesn't try to fetch it from the 8266, and Bob's your uncle.
Bob's my uncle. That's what I want.
No,
Where is
Rob just left.
Rob.
Cross-site scripting is something you want to avoid.
At all costs.
Well, typically, yes, but
It involves pain.
It's lots of pain, and is a big security risk. I always went back to the server for that. My local server, do the cross-site stuff in the background, and then just send the data through the normal channel. It's much safer, and I had to teach people at Cisco to stop doing cross-site scripting because they were leaving themselves open to tons of security flaws.
right. But if your server is an 8266,
Right.
I think the risk is probably minimal, is my take on it. But it depends what it's got, I guess.
And if the net from the hack is they get the temperature in your barn, this is not really,
hard to turn that into cash.
Yeah.
it's not really high security data.
Yeah. No,
Really high security data.
Yeah. No, I understand that, but
Yeah.
I did enterprise stuff, so
Yeah.
Yeah, it's absolutely a thing to avoid if you absolutely cannot. If you absolutely can, but I'm thinking this might be an exception, so you don't have to try to serve even the minified JavaScript library is going to be fairly large. So anyway, it's a thought. It was fun, guys, but I got to go. So hope I didn't disturb your meeting too much.
Man.
Yeah, thanks a
Could
lot.
be. Wouldn't rule it out.
yeah.
All right. Cheers, y'all.
Actually, the libraries for the 8266 have a pretty good extensive JavaScript capability to them.
Have you done stuff with JavaScript before?
It's similar.
Well, it's very much like Java.
I have copied and pasted Java.
No.
This
4 layers. 4 layers with Java.
it is. No, it actually is very similar to C and Java. It has
No.
underneath is very different.
It's what I call a document-oriented type scripting language. It has nothing to do with that.
It has nothing to do with it other than the fact it looks and kind of feels like it when you're writing code.
Actually,
I did a lot of JavaScript.
to me, it feels more like HTML than it does anything.
Oh, JavaScript?
Yeah, because it's a document formatted.
I mean, it uses the same terminology
model.
for try, and so it's try except in Python, it's try and, they use throw just like Java does.
I agencies are all the same.
Look, I'm trying to make him feel good, like wants to jump into this.
Oh,
Yes, when you get into any language, there's
He's
gonna be
doing
tons of
this from
difference.
his armchair.
I want the AI to write it for me, right?
You know, way back in the day, we used soap for that.
There you go.
Problem
solved.
There you
Problem solved.
Absolutely hate soap.
Throw Claude at it. Problem solved.
No, did I ever hate soap? I think I've got a website where it's why you should never ever use soap for anything.
Nowadays, I want to learn much more thoroughly than what I've been doing, the product I'm working on, gRPC.
Well, RPC's been around for like 8 years.
gRPC, Google's RPC.
Google RPC.
Yeah, and it uses protobuf as the main data serialization. It's very short, quick, it's small, it's really good for embedded systems, and you can really set up some secure channels, although that's not important for this problem, but still, I know enough to be dangerous with gRPC right now. I'm still learning it.
I know enough to be dangerous in many programs.
So is the consensus that I should pursue a web browser-based solution
You can get away with it probably, yes.
as opposed to?
Yes, but you're going to be putting in some time.
Well,
It's going to hurt.
It is gonna hurt.
More than learning math.
It's going to hurt.
Matplotlib.
no, yeah, you don't want that.
Well, Matplotlib is probably the best
That's
graphics engine. It's a big one though.
That's the 50 caliber
Yeah.
Right.
solution.
And the next level down are things like QT and LVGL and stuff like that.
I mean,
The latest QT, not the old one.
No.
yeah, there is a QT one. I just saw that on my phone. Yeah, there are other ones, but you need to check to see if they'll work with web pages.
I love the new,
Well,
the new plot.
the main thing is any newer plot, have the server draw them up and then render the GIF and then just send the GIF out the HTML.
Yeah, that's something I thought of as he was
But
talking.
with the new plot, you can,
Exactly.
you have unlimited choices for what you want to
So-
generate on the back end.
You can script GNU plot stuff too.
Oh, always.
Yep.
That's the nice thing about GNU plot. So what you
And the
do
nice
is
thing
just,
too is
it-
you can just get involved with it and get involved with it and go like that, you know, just scratch it a little bit.
Yeah.
And get some feedback and good
Hey,
feeling.
Paul, though, you were asking and describing that you need more like widget colors and shape, you know, like 2 bars, 4 bar kind of simplified output as opposed to plotted curves and things like that on what you want to call out, right?
That's my current understanding.
So graphics based on triggers is essentially what you want. So you have something in the background analyzing the data and then creating triggered graphics.
so what you would have essentially is periodically you would just go out and get a different graphic, which each one is static, but you'd get them often enough so you could get changes every second, minutes, hours, whatever you want.
Well, that's one approach. That's like an approach I've done for audio where you've had fragments of phonetics pitched up, pitched down, pitched middle like that. And you can kind of make it sound good. You can do that graphically. But what I was talking about was having the server on the network drive render the graphics dynamically hot and live, and then having it cough up the web page, the static results. So like, for instance, the renderer is creating the GIF files, and then
So that you'd still have to have JavaScript, but it would be much simpler because all it would have to do is fetch an image
exactly,
and display it.
just a sequence of images, and those images are dynamically
And the images lie on.
You don't have to even store the images.
It's what I call dynamic widgets, dynamic images.
Quick question, you've got, Raspberry Pis here and
Have a
there,
Pi.
yonder.
Yep.
Why would you not use the web server in Raspberry Pi?
I have no reason I can't.
You might find that to be way simpler, and you don't have to be paranoid about running out of memory. And it's a modern.
I mean, even a
Unless
regular,
I'm mistaken.
full-blown
Raspberry
PI.
It's a Pi.
So the Pi web server is.
And the graphics engines and everything are the full blown. So you get all kinds of, if you stick with the Pi doing your, web serving.
And if you're doing Python,
You've got everything.
got all the tools,
Anything you
you
want.
can use anything on
Now the world is your possibility.
it. Piece of cake. We're gonna want to report on this next month, you know.
I got a Sumabot competition that I'm working on. It's higher priority than this. Right, other comments? So host it on the Pi, serve it up on the Pi. I mean, I have scripts running on the Pi that are subscribed to all these topics. So hooking in there shouldn't be any problem. Starting a new one.
And either dynamically creating your graphics or rendering graphics statically, but then any number of ways.
And you don't even have to create a file. You can actually just create the binary object and send the binary object directly, which is a lot faster too, because you have no disk I/O.
You're just coughing up dynamic GIFs. Just you're creating your stream live.
Well,
Who is sending?
so,
this?
okay,
Who's
so
sending
the
this
way,
gift to
the
who?
way it works is you have some sort of back-end server, okay, that generates all of this stuff. The graphics program, instead of taking the graphics output and sending it to a file, you're sending it essentially to a data stream. Okay,
Pipe to another.
To the web server that's
Process.
running on the Pi.
And
So you got process to process.
you don't even have to dynamically generate the GIFs. It may be working. So you have 3 GIFs, that just send one of the 3 GIFs and select which one. It's a very simple.
That's how much.
that's true. If you do something like that, sure, that's even simpler.
By the way, the weekend business model, the thing that I run and do for Smart Home, that's the approach that I use. is I
Yeah,
get
so
a bunch of
you use GIMP, make however many different levels you want, make one icon for each one, and they're on the disk, and you just serve the one that is relative to your data.
nice front end tools that you can just select your color and this and that. They're not.
Actually, even better than that, you don't even have to server. Pull them up with the web page and have the JavaScript just flip in and out the one you want.
Yep.
Because you may use the same one for different items.
Yep. So like, for instance, battery charge, if you have 4 bars, you have one color, one of them green, 2 of them green, 3 of them green, and 4 of them green. So you just cough up which of the 4 GIFs.
Keep them all cached and buffered and just keep them on the screen.
Well, it's on a Pi.
All right, so this is way less fun, but so I don't know if this will work for your purposes, but so if you just have Adafruit display your variables as little indicators, I don't know if you can actually put this onto your iPad, or
We're a bunch of engineers. We don't want anything simple. This
Well, I
is gotta be
know.
complex.
yeah, this is my my
Just
one of
joking.
my
A dashboard or something.
right, and just like where you have your graphs, different choices of the little different unit, and and so there's, I forget what they're called, but anyway, that's a very simple option. Not as much fun, but
You might have some history. Any other comments?
Claude.
You know Claude?
I know, I use Claude periodically. I prefer ChatGPT.
I used to know ChatGPT.
By the way, this says that LVGL will run nicely on an Arduino ESP32.
Yep, it will.
M32. I mean, it is a small light library.
Yeah, it's well put together.
And I'm trying to find the rendering tool that creates LVGL.
What is
automated.
LVP?
They're available.
Oh, variable graphics.
It's a
What language?
Meanwhile, he's.
whatever you want.
Well,
It's written in
typically you
C.
can get the Python version of it, or you can get C. We use the C version.
Yeah, it's
Oh, so you would run it on
Yeah.
the server end, and then
So it's placed on the local screen.
okay.
Very nice. They sent me.
it's going
You
to.
want a 1-inch hole drilled where?
By the
I was
way,
going to show it how.
LVGL supports touchscreen.
Yep. I use it. Yeah, no, it's
It's
That's the area.
yeah, no,
it says it's low memory.
it's very well put together. Very well put together.
Data out.
Rendering via widget.
Maybe that's to make us feel.
Yep.
bad.
it works for me.
Okay, show and tell. You
This
got
was
something.
this was going to be apropos of what Pete was doing, but those are Raspberry Pi, the newer Picos, and
So the USB interface is on a little ribbon cable.
right, and you don't have you program it and you're done.
That's the
And
RP 2050 hat.
yep, and so it.
That's sweet.
And you pull the cable out and it runs. And it is, and what I do, and I was telling Dawn about it, is I run a I2C link from my ESPs. So I have multiple ones of those sitting out there, all of which are on an I2C bus, and I can. The A to D converter is reasonably good. I have DMA channels. It gives me I can add without having to add much code. I can get a lot of sensor data very cleanly. So it is, those things are like
Very inexpensive.
$2-3 a piece. And they're basically throwaways. It's got a good A to D converter. It's reasonable CPU.
Is it about 3 channels? 3 8
Yeah, I think it's 3. And so I run I2C and I run JSON over I2C. So I have a JSON configuration file that sits on there, which I can read and write, telling it what sensor, and then I send it a JSON string saying, turn on A to D converter channel 1, take me data, take me 30 readings per minute for the next 30 minutes, and this goes off and does its stuff. It does not. The problem with doing it on an ESP, and the ES is if you're using a graphics language or anything like that, you end up bogging down the ESP because you don't, particularly with LVGL on a touchscreen, you don't want to interfere with the you don't want to do any major interference with the I2C channels. It's okay to read and write data, but you don't want to do any A to D converter, anything like that. The ESP units I'm using, the 2 inches, don't have enough I/O lines to be able to do jack shit with. So this gives me sort of unlimited. It's basically I can make my own I2C chip.
What is that exactly?
This is a Raspberry Pico.
Raspberry Pi 2.
Oh, okay.
The I2C on the ESP32s, is that all blocking poles?
Can be, which I'm
You're not using interrupt.
Nope.
I mean, that, in that case,
I2. but it's not like
it would be a big hit
Pico.
to have to update your split screen, and meanwhile you're late.
Right, exactly. And I wanted to avoid that. You know, I can set this thing, I have an ultraviolet detector. I can set this thing to make 30 readings, actually 30 readings a second for the 4 minutes that I'm interested in. And this thing goes off, DMAs the data to memory, and then I can, at any point later, just query and it dumps the data from memory. And so I'm not doing real-time programming on the ESP in a graphics environment, because that hurts.
Local memory?
This has little,
Half a megabyte of RAM and 2 megabytes of flash.
yep, I mean, it's,
And it supports outboard
Yeah.
RAM and
My
It
Atari
supports,
800 had 64K.
yeah, no, it's, yeah,
somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the outboard pseudostatic
Oh, that's,
RAM
yeah,
is, I think 16 gig,
yeah, it's,
and 16 gig, or it's either 8 or 16, and then it's
I think it's 16.
Yeah.
16 gig for flash.
and you can throw very easily an SD card onto this. But the half a meg of RAM gives me the ability to essentially set up a disk. This thinks it's a disk. So I set up a
Like
disk,
RAM disk.
a RAM disk. I set up a RAM disk that I DMA the data to the board, and then as far as the programming is concerned, it's a RAM disk. It has file names, dates, it's a file. And I say, okay, now I want to serve that file via I2C, which isn't the fastest, but I don't care.
The other thing about the Raspberry Pi 2, it's also true of the original, is JTAG is a first class
Right, and
citizen.
I
And so you have debugging tools that are worth a crud.
and I use the larger W, which I use the larger chip with all the I2C JTAG to do all my debugging on. And when I'm done, I say,
Yeah.
put it on this.
The only thing I've noticed so far with the JTAG is, and I haven't retested this since I updated the firmware in my JTAG interface, but you can set up and say, when this variable changes,
Yep.
stop.
Right.
And
That'd be like a watch.
it
Yep.
slides 2 instructions past. And I'm hoping that since I had out-of-date firmware, I'm hoping that the new JTAG dongle firmware has improved on that, because if one of those instructions happens to be a return,
Then you
it's
You don't know where you
but,
came.
but yeah, I mean, then you have to use the GDB came from command. You've all heard
Right.
that, right?
Have you, so what JTAG debugger are you using next?
this is one that comes
Like
from.
you use a standard Sega?
Oh, no, Raspberry Pi makes it.
It's a little,
Thing about
yeah.
that square.
Yep.
And works great.
And how do you connect to it? Just
4 pins, 3 pins, 2 pins,
It's 3
3
pins.
3 pins,
It's-
ground
it's
and 2 pins.
SWD.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Works, but
Oh, plus it also can tie into your UI.
Yep.
Serial IO.
That's what I was asking. Yeah. That's how I'm used to.
Yeah,
I'm trying to
it's-
do
So
a
you
better
can
at
do
it.
your printfs if you need
Yep.
those printfs, but
There you
you
go.
can also set it up and get to the heart of the matter.
yeah,
Set your watch variables, set yours.
yeah, I use the printfs all over the place, because as I say, I write my code on the bigger W, and I've got all sorts of, bells and whistles there. And then when I'm happy with it, and it's, and then I put it on this, and I have a little standalone I2C.
And so it's raw code essentially that you're running on there. It's not like an OS.
Yeah, I mean, I'm running Arduino on this.
He's using Arduino,
Yeah.
which
Yeah,
is a
but-
layer on top of, it's not even a layer on top of the SDK. The Raspberry Pi Pico SDK.
Yeah, it's just, it's what we call raw
underneath.
code.
The Arduino has,
You can do C or C++.
the Arduino has, libraries for every damn sensor that I could
Yeah,
ever
every
want.
single chip that you can
Every
imagine.
single chip. And so I just, it's like I pull it down, I put it on this, and I don't have to write the damn code. And then all I have a main loop that I've got 2 CPUs there. One CPU does nothing but listen to the I2C, and handle I2C transactions. The other one has its own there are 2 I2Cs. The other one has its own I2C, entirely separate threads. Never do they touch.
So it's a dual core? I don't.
It's a dual core.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it has excellent support.
And what's the chip type?
It's a Raspberry Pi RP2350.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
350?
Yeah, it's 2350.
Which is
Yeah.
it's an ARM
Pico
class.
2. Pico 2 is an ARM 33 or RISC-V.
It's
But you have to choose one or the other. You can't do a mixture.
let's say I run the Arduino on this, and I have my own Arduino library that
So you don't have to play with pin maps and all that.
exactly, because and ChatGPT may have its problems, but it is really good at writing JSON interpreters going in and out. Really superb at that.
You talked about that last
Yeah.
time.
That's
Claude, that's his name. Claude can do it too.
Yeah, no, I simply say I have this structure, write me, and I specifically say, write Arduino JSON.
I gotta send everybody in the group the link to CatGPT.
Oh, really?
GPT.
I'm interested.
Your cats love to sit on your keyboard and punch keys.
Right. And
Similar
which
to
GPT is saying, I really want to understand that. In fact, I've got a prototype going. But what is this supposed to be doing? What is the object of it?
The guy drew it kind of Dilbert-like. It looked like a Dilbert cartoon and video and stuff, and it's the cat just sitting around and batting a mouse. And
auto billing your credit card for additional tokens.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah. Your context is 900K.
I wanted to share something from robotics on doing high current connections. The robots use 120 amp breakers, and they have short pulses of over 400 amps, 500 amps, 600 amps. And one of the things that I started doing, I guess, 2.5 years ago, is using P.O.T.M, Pennsylvania Engineering and Manufacturing. It's a company that makes inserts. These are just for aluminum and copper, but I inserted them straight into the ring terminals. Those are the 1/4-inch stud ring terminals, and I bought an arbor press just for doing those. But McMaster Carr sells a hand press that you can use. The McMaster Carr sells for $680, or you can get one that looks exactly like this for $40 on Amazon. So it is a handheld, at least 1.5-ton metal punch that I used to.
oh, punch! I thought you said press.
No, I used an arbor press. This is a punch, but I sized the punch to be smaller than the ID of the pin nuts.
I need one of these because I have some.
Well, the thing that really applies to embedded is I've done some high current stuff. So if you just have pads on your PCB, you just have pads top and bottom, put this on the bottom, and when you torque it down, the only trick to this is your contact has to be thick enough so that your steel pin nut never touches. You don't want the steel in your current path. You want it to be straight PCB to tin/copper. But then you can put a bolt through the PCB and tighten it down, and you're not limited to the contact area or strength of soldering something to your PCB. You can bolt it straight to